Hello, everybody. My name is Karen, and I'm here to tell you about the top marketing trends that we're watching in 2020 and specifically how to apply these things into your practice. So, all of these things will be specifically kind of brought back to how it is that we're going to apply this to the medical community, to my health professionals out there. So, let's first start. Google advertising restrictions. You've probably heard of this. They've been kind of dripping out their restrictions and regulations on what you can advertise for. But in October of 2019, they really brought down the hammer on these so-called speculative medical treatments. Not cool, right? So things like P shot, O shot, stem cell treatments, and even some peptides, and some things that we've been doing on the hair loss side, they've all now you can advertise for that, right? So so our solution to this was what? Give up, right? Absolutely not. No, our solution was this to really kind of go back to the roots, right? So we went back when we went to re-strategize. Okay, how are we going to get around this? We went back to understand what Google is. They are a search engine, right? The search engine in particular. They are there to organize the world's information, to organize it from good to bad, from best to worst, from trustworthy to untrustworthy, from black hat to white hat, all those things. And what this means is that content quality is king. So if Uncle Google doesn't want us advertising these quote unquote speculative medical treatments, then we thought, okay, let's feed the beast what it wants. What does Google want to put on their search engine? And then what will they allow us to advertise? So we started writing these super long form, very readable, very accessible information on some of these treatments, because a lot of these things that I just mentioned, your patients probably have never heard of it unless you're the person who has told them about it. So we started writing about that, and we started writing the reasons why you would need that, and writing to, okay, if you're feeling fatigued in the morning, if you're feeling brain fog, then these are some of these solutions out there that you should probably know of. These long form pieces of content, we cited all the sources of information. We cited reputable sources, from medical journals and other academia. We made no claims, of course. We're never using the word cure or other kinds of, snake oil type miracles. We're not writing to that. We're writing to a very scientific point of view. Here's all the information. Now make the decision for yourself. We used a lot of bullet points. We used a lot of numbered lists. And then we started even color coding certain things that were of more importance. We also started writing within these long articles, these things that we call in the marketing space the content upgrades. And that includes a lot of things like infographics. If you're not familiar with that, go to Pinterest and you can just Google infographic. Actually, it's just like graphs and information that's very, very visually stunning, very easy to digest. We also made videos, compelling images. We would drop in, checklists and other kinds of white paper type of material. Those are all content upgrades. We really just, end of the day, just started to give Google what it wants, and it wants high quality content. So we did that test. We made a couple of pillar pieces of content to see if Google would allow that. And guess what? They did. They allowed us to not only rank for it organically on the SERP, but also we were able to start advertising for it. So yes, it's one step removed from, hey, if you're searching for a solution to brain fog on Google, you won't see, buy our peptides or talk to Dr. this person for peptides. Instead, you would be like, read about how you can naturally and effectively get rid of peptides without the use of drugs. See if it's the right solution for you, right? That's the kinds of things that we're advertising. We're advertising content. Very good stuff. So we did that. We are able to advertise on Pinterest, on Instagram, and of course on Facebook, even on Google. So that's one thing, right? The biggest difference is that you're not buying traffic to an offer, right? You're not buying traffic to hey, come buy this, or hey, come see me, or hey, come make an appointment. You're buying traffic to read information. You're buying traffic to give more information to the public. And that is what we fed the beast, and it totally works. So if your potential patients, if you see this, how it's gonna relate to a dollar value, right? These potential patients will find you by learning about a solution that they're searching for. And how valuable is that? That is incredibly valuable. And you'll seem very credible if they find you that organic way. So the next thing, the next really cool marketing trend that you've probably already heard of, and if not, then you'll definitely hear it here. Content is king. And it's not just content is king, it's video content is king. So if content is king, then we say that video is the emperor. And you see a little cute little crown with a video play button. That is not done on accident. But yes, content is king, and specifically video content. You've probably heard of this for a while. It's not just about making a video. It's about getting people to watch it, right? So it's no longer a kind of build it and they will come type of content landscape out there when content was scarce. Now you're fighting against all the noise, and medical videos in particular they're not like, funny, cute dog puppy videos. You're competing against all these things that are possibly, a little more entertaining than talking about a medical problem, right? So how do you do that? So to get people to know that your content exists, don't be afraid to spend just like 20 bucks on Facebook or on Google or on Instagram just to boost it, right? You're just boosting it for eyeballs. And you can even boost it to specific locations if you want to just keep it to your local area. And that way your traffic is cheaper, and that 20 bucks stretches a really long way. Doesn't take much to do, but your content does need eyeballs to get it out there. I'm going to give you more on that in just a second coming up when I talk more about the solutions. But I do want to switch topics over to the next big thing in marketing trends for 2020, and that is lead generation. Lead generation is more important than ever, because having a lead is really owning your audience, and that's really, really important. And one complaint that I always get, and that we hear, is leads. Yeah, sure, you're sending us leads, but they're trash leads. They're low quality leads. They're leads with people with no money. And I get the feeling it sounds familiar. I'm not surprised. This is a very common complaint. And in fact, if just to put some stats out there, the average medical lead for advertisers is costing anywhere between $150 and up. And if you're talking about other forms of medical marketing, like for example, hair transplants, some of the largest hair transplant companies out there are paying upwards of $500 per lead, not per patient, per lead. So if that's the case, then what's the deal with this trash leads, right? How can that be right? So when your practice is getting leads and it's still an issue of trash leads, then the problem isn't actually the lead. The real problem is your sales, right? You don't have someone selling. But I'm not here to lecture you about that. But leads is really about owning the audience. If you turn them into a patient today, if you don't turn them into a patient today, then you just give up, right? No, absolutely not. You get as much value as you can from that particular lead. Send them emails to visit your website or visit your content or visit your video on YouTube, right? Send them check-ins and promote new protocols or treatments. Maybe sign up for an affiliate to sell supplements on behalf of another company and get a commission off of that, lower ticket items rather than a big, $1,000 visit for your cash pay practice. Sell them something that's 30 bucks. Give them the value that way. And they're getting that advice from a doctor. It's going to come a long way, or a nurse practitioner. It's going to come a long way. Leads is money. And while it might not be direct money today, it could be indirect kind of revenue that comes in later by them clicking on your website, driving up the traffic, having Google see that your traffic is going up, and then giving you more organic reach when people are searching for those kinds of solutions. So yes, those leads, they might not be a specific patient today, but you can turn that into other forms of indirect revenue. And so that traffic builds up, because traffic builds on traffic. Load it up, get that value from everyone, which leads me to my next marketing trend that's going to be and continuously will be very big in 2020. And that is that rank brain is even more important. And if you've heard me speak before, you know that rank brain, I've talked about this in the past. It's evolved. It's actually evolved in 2020 because this was something that they introduced at the beginning of 2018. We've seen this and tracked this algorithm update. It's evolved since. Before it was just, really measured on these two things, and that is how often you show up in Google SERP, and that is search engine results page, and that means on page 1 or page 10 of Google. How often do you show up as an impression? And then how many people actually click on you when you did show up, right? So it was all about, okay, you show up and people click. But it's evolved into now when people click, how many people actually stayed? How many people found value in your content, right? Did they click on anything else on your website? Did they engage with your content? How much time did they spend on your page? Did they go to your next link? Did they give you your phone number and email? That's all being tracked. And those are all forms of engagement. So it's evolved into, okay, you building that content, making it discoverable on Google, like getting people to actually click on it, and then do they find value in it, right? That's that third piece. So what's really great about this update and this evolution of Rankbrain is that you might not be in position one or even page one on Google today, but you might be tomorrow, especially if that number one person who's ahead of you doesn't watch these things, if they're not updating their content, right? Because Google is of course going to reward those content pieces that are the most advanced, the most current, right? So you can even go back to your older articles and update it, bring it back into 2020, update more information, add more sources. So this is good news for us, for smaller practices like us that are not these giant corporations with these giant content marketing teams, right? Because it would be impossible to get to page one if you're competing with all that money. But you get to now with Rankbrain, right? This gives us small fries the ability to get on page one, and we do this all the time, right? Makes it possible for us to uh, decimate those companies with really large ad budgets, because all we're doing is writing really really good content, right? The best piece of content out there, and then updating it continuously and really watching those things, watching that effort go a long way. So what are we going to do? What are some other solutions out there, especially because Rankbrain is so important? You really want to be able to write content that people will watch, read, or even listen to, right? That's making content consumable. I've noticed that, especially when docs write their own pieces of content, they're writing like they did in academic settings, which isn't the worst thing, right? You write to the audience, but when you're writing to rank on Google, you're writing to the other people out there, the people that don't know this stuff. So when doctors are writing in the academic setting, I see like 10 sentence paragraphs, walls and walls of text. No one's going to read that. And it's brilliant information, right? But to someone like me who doesn't have medical training, it's a bit daunting. Um, the internet is a culture that skims, right? We skim. We have very low attention spans. So writing to that means writing 1 to 2 sentence paragraphs, right? Write it so that a teenager can understand it. Define really tough terms that they won't be familiar with, right? Establish that authority and establish that expertise. And if you're making videos, right, don't be afraid to show your personality. Your charm, your humor, crack a couple of jokes if the situation calls. And if you don't have any charm or humor, that's okay too. Say, hey, I'm not here to charm or humor you, but I am here to tell you why you need to be listening to me for the next 10 seconds, because here's everything you're going to learn, and here's why it's so important for you to learn it. I mean, just capture their audiences, because you have 2 seconds to capture an audience on Facebook. If someone watches your video for longer than 2 seconds, that counts as a view rather than a scrolling bounce. Because again, 90% of content is consumed on a mobile device. What are you trying to do? You're trying to get them to stop scrolling, right? That's the big kicker. So if you get them to stop scrolling by saying, hey, you need to listen to me, and here's all the reasons why you have to listen to me today, you're going to get this and this and this and this. I think that'll take up a really good 2 seconds. In marketing, we call that a hook. Right? You're hooking them in, reeling them in through the content, right? So that's, I've been learning how to fish, and apparently that's a good thing. Hook and reel. I've been saying it in a marketing metaphor for years, and now I'm doing it in actual practice. But yes, 2 seconds. That's all you need to do to get that view. And what's great is if it counts as a view on Facebook, they will continue to push this video out to the Facebook audience that they deem relevant, and then you get organic views. Organic views is great because you don't have to pay for it. It's free. We love free. I love free. Love it. And if you're not going to create content by yourself, or if you need some help and you're looking for a marketing agency to do this stuff for you, The next big thing is not to look for a one size fits all, right? Boutique marketing, right? One size does not fit all. And when marketing companies try to put you in a box with some attractive, cheap solution that's like, you're going to get this and this and this and this and this, and it's formulaic, it's not done for you. It's not a custom solution that's specific to your location, to your practice offerings, to the way that your practice is set up, to the way that your staffing is can handle it, then you're kind of trying to squeeze a round hole and a round peg into a square hole, right? It's you need to really think about your marketing in a sense of what's unique to you and your practice. Every doctor that I've met is different, right? Their personalities couldn't be on the more apart from each other on the spectrum. You're very unique already in offering a cash pay practice, and of course, getting into regenerative medicine. You're already doing something that's unique, and yet I'm finding that a lot of my docs out there that I talk to are going after these solutions that are, marketing in a box solutions when it's so out of the box what you're offering to your patients. So don't give up. And I'm sure that you've dealt with this before, right? Don't give up because an agency has failed you in the past. We all know that we need marketing in our business, right? We know this. And just like any important relationship out there, you might have to kiss a lot of frogs to find that prince, right? But really, you just shouldn't give up because we have to learn about this stuff as a group, right? So the more that practices are coming in and leaning into these outrageous regulations by Google, by Facebook, by all these social media networks that are actually providing exceptionally good treatments to people that will actually make them feel better, make them live longer, make them live better lives, right? Without pain. Yet we are constantly being regulated for things that are actually working. But the more that we have the numbers behind us that are consistently trying to make things right and consistently trying to fight, the powers that be, the more we have in numbers speak. So if, like, for example, if the doctors that we had in our agency, if all of those practices canceled on us as soon as Google stopped us from being able to advertise, we would never be able to make the headway that we've made today. And in fact, our efforts today for our doctors are better than they were when we were just straight up advertising to treatments or protocols. So I want to talk about Dr. Bana, who's one of my longest patients. He's been with us forever through thick and thin. He's never given up on us because he knows that we're going to do right by him. We're going to shift. We're going to go with what we think is best for his practice. This is the change, some of the changes that we've made from him in January, right? We had 14 leads come in, the new way that we've started advertising through content and through our lead magnets. 14 leads. They made 8 appointments. What's a 57% click-through rate? Guys, this sounds like it was easy. It was not easy. We spent some long hours trying to figure this stuff out. My team is amazing, but we got it. And we worked with their sales staff, the person who was contacting the leads, Michelle, who's amazing, right? My team worked with them to coach them, to show them other technologies, to start texting back, and look where the promised land has given them. They would have never gotten this had they given up on us. So don't give up just because you've had a bad agency before. You might just have to kiss a couple of frogs to figure it out and ask the right questions in order to do so, right? Boutique marketing. Another thing, some solutions. Remarket to your patients. Start emailing your patients, contacting them. You've already done the hard part by getting them to come into your practice and trusting you and giving you money at some point to treat them and make them feel better. So email them, text them, send them your Google listing for a review or a Yelp listing. Now, send them an article that you wrote, right? A new article, a video. Get them a personalized, hey, I'm just checking in. How are you feeling? How's that working out for you? Introduce them to some new things that you have going on. Maybe you're offering a new hair loss treatment from SMT, right? It's like those kinds of things. You've already done the hard part. They've trusted you. Remarket to them. They're right there, and you already have their contact information. So don't be afraid to do that. The world's definitely your oyster. You've already got that hard part done. And this is what we've done for our docs. There's no magic or hack. It's really hard work. It's smart, targeted, goal-oriented work that is responsive and getting ahead of these new trends and regulations that we will consistently know will come constantly becoming our way as a marketing agency. So when you're ready to put us to work, shoot me an email. Here's my email address. Otherwise, let's talk. Whether you want to become a client with us or not, let's just talk about what's working for you, what's not working for you. I'm more than happy to give you my 2 cents. I'm a very opinionated person, so more than happy to help. Here's my email address one more time. Thank you for spending a couple of minutes with me to go over these marketing trends of 2020. We're going to do another check-in video, maybe in the next quarter or so, to see how these trends are tracking out. So hope to hear from you soon, but otherwise, we'll see you next time. Thank you.